Good morning, peeps. How are we all doing? Right, so today I'm out and it's my final tab for Combat Stress. Now, as I explained before, Combat Stress, they're doing a thing called March in March, or they were doing a thing called March in March. And what they were asking people to do was 10 miles through the month of March to raise money to aid other veterans that struggle with their mental health. So what I ended up doing, because you know me, I can't just do 10 miles, can I? What I decided I would do, I would end up doing 10 miles per week through the month of March. So I should end up doing 40 miles by the time I finish this tab today. Probably a little bit over actually, because I'm looking at doing an 8 miler. But that's what March in March was all about. Yeah. So this morning I was looking at my Sky News Sports and everything, going through the golf. Those of you that don't know, I'm a bit of a golfer, play golf myself, but I also work for DP World Tour. Some of you may have seen some of the videos of me at the various tournaments around the UK here, such as the Scottish Open and the Open, and also the British Masters. But looking at that today, there's a player, professional golf player, called Gary Woodland. Now Gary, and I didn't know this at the time, yeah, suffers with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. And most people, when they think of PTSD, they think of squaddies, don't they, or armed forces personnel struggling with their mental health after being deployed and so on. Gary's trauma was after having a brain tumour and an operation. So again, that's a trauma, isn't it? Let's think about this, you know. Trauma isn't just about being involved in wars. Trauma is trauma. I mean, when you look at people like the fire service, those guys get traumatised when they go out to road traffic accidents. Police, again, when they go out to road traffic accidents, or even a murder scene or something like that. So trauma is trauma. And Gary has battled away, yeah, since his operation with his PTSD, and he finally won the Houston Open yesterday. Well, Gary, from me, mate, great achievement, great achievement. You've had to battle with your demons, you've had to battle with the fact of being a professional golfer, yeah, and you've come through and won the Houston Open. My greatest respect to you, mate. And hopefully I'll get to see you at one of the golf events, and I'll have a chat with you then. But let's talk about my trauma. Yeah, when I got diagnosed, it was back in 2000, and I was based down in Marchwood at 17 Port Maritime Workshops, Remy. I was the Marine Electrical Instructor for the British Army, and what happened was, there was myself and my corporal. We were in our office. Andy went off to go and make a brew, and when he came back, you'd have thought that World War III had happened in the office. I've literally just overturned tables, chairs, you name it. I just trashed the place. So eventually they got the medics out, and I got taken away to Southampton General Hospital. And I was there for a while, going through therapy. Now the therapy was purely to find out what had gone on. I mean, everyone in work was concerned about me. I was concerned to a degree, but I didn't really know what was happening to me. And through therapy and talking, it was found that one, it was to do with operational deployments that I've been involved in, and two was the stress of leaving the army after 23 years, yeah, and not knowing what the hell was going to happen to me. Yeah, I done my resettlement, did a computer course for my resettlement. Yeah, but I didn't know what was going on. Luckily enough, I'd got a house in Portsmouth, so I didn't have to worry about accommodation. But then the marriage between me and my wife broke up due to my PTSD, and that was an even bigger kick in the teeth for me. But it was all to do with the fact that I'd never ever spoken about my experiences. And that was the thing, in those days, unlike today, there was no support from the army or the MOD whatsoever. You came back off an operational deployment and just got on with the job. Now, luckily enough for the guys, mainly from Afghanistan, as I understand it, they left the operational theatre, went to Cyprus for a 2-week decompression. Yeah. But whether that would suffice is another matter, isn't it? You know, you've been involved in heavy fighting and everything, and all they do is stick you on an island for 2 weeks to mull things over. For some people that probably sufficed, for others it probably didn't, and that was the issue, wasn't it? Yeah, and I've got to admit, from what I've seen since those times, the MOD are trying to do something for those guys that come back from operations. But like I say, during my time, there was nothing. You know, blokes came back from Ireland, straight back into work. Came back from the Falklands, straight back into work. Came back from the First Gulf War, straight back into work. Bosnia, straight back into work. The only sort of therapy you had was someone would say, "You're all right, mate." And like most of us, we wouldn't admit to it, would we? We'd say we was okay. But it was when I went through therapy that it came to light that the deployments that I'd done in Bosnia and the Gulf War, and even the fact that I'd been traumatised back in 1981 when I lost my best mate on an adventure training exercise. Now, Brumby Vine, Craftsman Andrew Vine, he, while I'd been in Cyprus in 1980, he got posted into the unit and he moved into my bed space and I turfed him out. This was 11 o'clock at night when I got back from Brize Norton after flying in. Turfed him out of my bed space. He wondered what the hell was going on because he'd walked into a room, seen a spare bed and decided that he was going to make it his. Well, he'd only been there a couple of weeks when we came back. But me and Brumby became best of mates. So even to the point that I was going to be best man at Brumby's wedding. A couple of weeks prior to his wedding, we went down to Devon, to Tavistock, to do some adventure training. And while we were there, we were out canoeing, and unfortunately, Brumby died, drowned. Myself and the rest of the guys in the team actually kept Brumby alive for around about 4 hours on a beach. Yeah, giving him CPR, mouth to mouth, you name it. The date of Brumby's funeral, unfortunately, matched the day that he was due to get married. And instead of being best man at his wedding, I ended up as head pallbearer at his funeral. And in the lead up to his funeral, I'd kept it together. The rest of the guys, they'd all broken down in various forms. But during the lead up to the funeral, I just kept my head squared to the fact that we were going to send Brumby off in the best possible way we could. So we did so, and it was only a few years ago I went out to the National Arboretum with Lisa and met up with a bloke that I'd served with back in the 80s. And unknown to me, Rick had been a volunteer at the Arboretum. And we were just talking about the names on the wall at the Arboretum. Now, There's quite a few names on there that I know from my service. But I said to Rick about the fact that there's one name that I believe should be out there and it won't be. And he asked me why. I said, well, he didn't die in combat. He died as a result of a canoeing accident on adventure training. And Rick said to me, Nobby, he died in service, therefore his name's going to be on the wall. So Rick asked me his name. Of course I said Brummy Vine. He said, no, what's his real name? So then Andrew said, when did it happen? He said, 1981. He said, I'm telling you now, Nobby, his name's on the wall. So Rick took me round, me and Lisa, and sure enough, when we got to the wall, there it was, 1981, A Vine. I broke down and cried. Like I say, this was a couple of years ago. She's probably talking around about 2003, 2023, 2022. I lost Brummy in 1981. And all the memories of that day on the beach flooded back. Like I say, I cried. When I went to the commemoration of the Bosnia conflict, the 30 years, just last December, they were mentioning incidents in the presentation. And I was involved in one of the incidents where we were bombed. And again, it all came flooding back. And again, I broke down and cried. Now, a lot of people will tell you, it's not the sort of thing I do. Lisa will tell you for certain. It's not the sort of thing I do. And that's why I come out and do things like this tabbing. Yeah, whenever I feel a bit down and low, yeah, I'll come out and do a tab. But one of the things I want to stress to you all out there is if you are struggling, please go and get some help. Go and see your GP, or if you're still serving, go and see the med centre and let them know. Yeah, there is support there for you. I've had a couple of wobbles since 2000 with my mental health. I won't go into details, but at one stage I nearly lost my lovely wife Lisa because I allowed my PTSD to get on top of me. Yeah, and it's something that I make sure I'm on top of things now. So please, if you are struggling with your mental health, yeah, especially if you're a veteran or a serving soldier, airman, sailor, Royal Marine, and you feel like things aren't right, go and see the doc, yeah, and get yourself sorted. Now, I found the best therapy was actually talking about things, and that's worked for me. It's like most of you all know, I don't drink. I gave up drinking nearly 22 years ago now. I was an alcoholic for 5 years after I left the army because of everything that was going on in my life. But I'm okay now. Well, that's debatable, isn't it? No, I am all right now. I don't drink. I don't miss alcohol whatsoever. And I get on and do things. Like you'll see in various videos, you know, I'm the lollipop man. I do coffee mornings. I keep myself active. I keep my brain active. Stop me from dwelling on things. Anyway, I'm going to get on and tab on down. Yeah. Just wanted to mention about PTSD. With this being combat stress and the marching march, just to highlight what combat stress does. They're there to help people. That's the big thing. Therapy sessions and so on. So if you feel like you can't speak to anyone else, it might be an idea that you want to speak to someone that is totally unrelated to you. So contact Combat Stress. Yeah, get yourself referred, get yourself to a therapist and try and figure out what it is that's troubling you. Yeah, it's got to be worth it in the long run, really has. So if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing. Not telling you what to do. We don't do that on this channel, do we, peeps? No, we don't. Yeah, but if you do subscribe, do me a favour. Just drop me a little note after you subscribe. Just a little comment. Tell me who you are, where you're from, because I like to reply to my subscribers. Out there at the moment, you got Keith doing his bit. Let's Tab 59. What a legend that man is. Was it legend? I can't remember nowadays. No, Keith, you know I love you, mate. So if you are on Keith's channel, keep watching him. He's doing various, there was a veterans interview with a lady who was a wren. Quite interesting, that one. Yeah. I know Keith did a interview with me when I went over to meet him for the first time. So keep an eye on his channel. There's going to be a couple of videos as I go around today. I just want to mention a few people, yeah, who have helped me with this March in March. Also, something that I'm getting involved in next month, which I'll give you some information on. So, to you all out there, please take care of yourselves, stay safe, and as me and Keith always say, let's tab.